Thank you so much for staying tuned. Well, it's a live studio. You heard the commissioner. He spoke about the impact of land grabbing and, of course, the stand of government. He gave assurance that what are legally there, whose properties were affected, he has told you what to do. Next week Monday, not tomorrow, next week Monday, you go with your valid documents and things to be sorted out, all right? We'll still talk a little about it before we delve into the impact of court judgments in the forthcoming election. Politicians are really eager to get all this cleared out before the election will commence. You get to hear about a high court judgment, you get to hear about appeal court, you get to hear about the Supreme Court judgment. If you go to the north, when you take a look at the Senate President, yes, Yola, he said he's not going to contest court judgment as it stands right now. Right now, it was like hands off, okay? But when you come to the south, Godswill Akpabio got the favor of court judgment. The governor of Ebonyi State also was blessed also by the court judgment. You come to Edo State, people are saying that the lingering crisis of the PDP leadership also has been put to rest by the court judgment. Hence this topic, the impact of court judgment in the forthcoming election. With me here in the studio, I have a former executive director, Edo State Internal Revenue Service. He is Emmanuel Okuduga. Yes, I keep missing that name, but now I think I got the spellings correctly. Yes, Okuduga. And of course, he has the people at heart because we really want to serve in another capacity because he's fully loaded. You get to hear more from him in the course of this discussion. He was one time the vice chairman of Ego local government, one time also the acting chairman of Ego local government. Many people don't know that he is a lawyer. Yes, he went to law school, did everything, but I wonder why. He's also deep into politics and, of course, into agriculture and entrepreneurship. Let me to welcome Honorable Desmond Ubo. Honorable, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your coming. All right.
Well, now you know.
I don't go and call him a lawyer, but he is like, look, I'm not for now. Just leave that. Let me go into politics very well. Well, before we delve into the impact of court judgment, what do you have to say about government stands on land grabbing? I want to start off with you, Honorable. What do you feel about the demolition of those structures? Though we heard the commissioner, he spoke about it. Yeah. What's your angle?
Well, thank you very much. The action of the government, though it came with mixed feelings, owing to the previous action took by the palace over the grabbing of the palace land, and that it appears that the old Hula Baloo that greeted that action led to the arrest of the secretary to the Benin Traditional Council. People begin to now wonder how come such action was taken before and some persons were made to pass through the mail, and now the state government, even when the government were about taking such action, they came with another diversionary tactics to say that there is going to be a curfew, only to see that bulldozers were rolled out and people's buildings were demolished. But however, what is bad is bad. And the action, I mean the activities of land grabbers is becoming too worrisome in Benin and Edo State in general. When people begin to take to social media condemning the action of the state government, to some extent, yes, it's condemnable if they don't go to the nitty-gritty of hearing the details of how the actions were carried out. But however, it is the lot of the state government to have invited the community, invited the people who are now victims of the land grabbers to a round table and enter into a kind of a discussion before carrying out such action. But however, like I said, what is bad, because if you see the way and manner some communities are grabbing people's land, even when they know that the land does not belong to the community or to them, they do it with impunity. An indication that if the government does not come in this manner, it will become a pattern. And when such pattern begin to persist, investors and perhaps those who have the means to acquire land and build their properties will not be encouraged. And that is the reason why I said it is good that the government should move a step further, considering all the laws that they have put in place. At a time in 2017, they put up PPP law, where individuals were asked to safeguard their properties, and the dojis were energized and strengthened, paving way for people to swiftly acquire C of O to secure their land. But all these are gradually fading out. Even the committee that was set up by state government, headed by Arase, is now going into oblivion. And we have also seen that, you know, this state government came in the same time the Oba of Benin, Oba Aiware II, came in, when they raised voices against the activities of CDA, who were becoming a demigod, who now become so powerful that even when Odionwere in their locality raise any voice against their activities, the Odionwere will be ostracized. We know in this time when one Odionwere around the Iriri, Iyekogba, Ebo area was kidnapped and decapitated. And to the extent that the family of the Odionwere were now begging for the head of their father for proper burial. An indication that the CDA at that time were going into a worrisome dimension. And that informed the decision where the Oba, as at the time he was assuming the exalted throne, that he made a very categorical statement that the activities of CDA should be abolished. And that also informed the decision of the executive governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, to also put up a law, the PPP law. And even when the State House of Assembly has ascended to that, has ratified the necessary aspect of the law, he quickly went to the palace and present the bill to the palace, an indication that he wanted himself and the palace to work in synergy to eradicate the activities of these menace. And here we are. Even the Okaele that was asked to replace the CDA chairman of SOT has now snowballed into the same activities. They are now 10 and 10 pence. Nothing has changed as SOT, because in most claim, in most community, the same Okaele who was hitherto the chairman has now also metamorphosed into Okaele, because in some communities you see the same family being the Odionwere, the Okaele. And these are so dangerous to investment opportunity. Okay. And that is the reason why I said I am supporting the action of the state government, but to the extent that he ought to have moved a step further to do it to have a civil face, because properties, and indeed those who work hard to acquire this property, is not that easy.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Desmond. Well, Mr. Mabo.
All right. Good morning, Wisin, and good morning, Nigerians. I will still want to support my brother here as per his submission. But in my own opinion, I would like to say that the menace of land grabbing in Edo State and in Nigeria in general is a mobile dimensional disaster that is creating an unimaginable crisis between communities, individuals, and even government, developers as well. The campaign by the state government against land grabbers is a step in the right direction, which is aimed at restoring sanity to land administration space in the state, all right? And it is worthy to note that the campaign against land grabbers is supported by Section 1, Section 2 of the Land Use Act, which vests powers on the governor. It vests ownership, control, and administration of land administration on the governor. And the governor of the state holds all lands in the state in trust for the state. So I think it is a step in the right direction. And I will take you back memory lane. Let's go back to history. In 2017, the state government, as led by His Excellency, the governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, came up with 6 thematic pillars, among which are economic revolution, agricultural revolution, institutional reforms, and urban renewal was one of the thematic pillars. All right? So what you see today is the vision of the state government to bring about a master plan that will guarantee housing for all. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
Okay.
But there are certain measures I will still want the state government to take to mitigate the activities of land grabbers. Now, we can leverage the two laws, like I made mention of the Land Use Act, okay, Section 1 and Section 2, and also the Edo State Private Property Protection Law. All right? We look at Section 3, Section 4 talks about how those who go against or who are grabbing lands can be dealt with. There are fines and options. But one thing is very, very clear here. What can the government do to mitigate or curtail the activities of these land grabbers? First and foremost, I want the state government to deploy a robust technological platform, all right, that will create a digitalized central register for the purchase and sales of land. And that technology, in my own opinion, will help to simplify the land administration experience. All right? So with that technology, anybody can verify online, real time, even from your phone, the genuinity or the authenticity of such land. All right? And again, pending when the state government deploy a digitalized central register for land administration, they can set up a land acquisition committee in each community in the state. All right? Okay. And such land acquisition committee should be recognized and screened by the state government. So they will be interfacing with the agency of government like EDOGIS, Physical Planning, Urban Development Ministries, to ensure that there is sanity. So once any person comes to have anything to do with land purchase, so this committee will meet and give at least a kind of first aid advice to the buyer, all right, on what he's about to go into.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, you've heard them. They spoke their minds and, of course, their opinions, particular menace of land grabbing and government stand. Well, the commissioner was here earlier. He has told you what to do. From next week, Monday, not this Monday, next week, Monday, you can go to that particular area. There's an office there. If you have legal claims to that particular structure that was demolished by the government, definitely you will be recompensated because we're given the right of first refusal. With that, something will definitely, absolutely come up. Now, talking politics. It is fast approaching. It's not up to, let's say, 6 or even 7 months. It's just there, right in front of us. The elections that will take place next year. Many persons have been blessed by court judgment. Others also, according to them, have been cursed, so to speak, in quote, right now, by court judgment. The Senate president, he said he's not going to contest anything. He's going to leave it the way it is. He might change his mind. We don't know. Because right now in Yola, there is another man in the scene. You go to the South region, Akwa Ibom State to be precise, Godswill Akpabio, due to court judgment, he's been given that particular slot. And of course, Governor Ogwanye also was affected on one particular occasion, but right now, due to court judgment, they've been reverted, and is still very much in the race to become a senator if he eventually comes out tops in the election. You come down to Edo State, still court judgment. According to reports, the leadership tussle in the PDP has been laid to rest. Court judgment, court judgment, court judgment. As a politician, Honorable Desmond Igbo, what is your perception about this?
Thank you, Wisi. Ordinarily, all matters, internal matters within the party ought not to go to court. Even every political party have their own constitution that is guiding their activities. And it is even stated there that until you exhaust all the conflict resolution mechanism within the party, you are not advised to go to court. But being that the party constitution, so long as it's inferior to the ground norm, and you as a citizen, you have the right to ventilate your anger in the regular court, and even the Electoral Act is also there advising you to seek redress, starting from the Federal High Court to carry out litigation over whether your rights were subjugated upon, or your mandate was stolen, or whatever means you deemed possible that you felt you were not carried along properly, you have the right to go to court. But then, all these court cases ought not to have arisen if the party has done well in mitigating the effects of crisis rocking, particularly when party is going into congresses, knowing fully well that it is the Congress, the outcome of the Congress, particularly delegate Congress, that determine who eventually gets the party ticket. In most cases, what we are seeing today, all the court cases that greeted nomination started when they were doing their delegate congresses. And that, you know, party officials, so to speak, also have a way of positioning people to favor a particular candidate during the primaries proper. And while others will be systematically, cunningly sideline the recognition, and at the end of the day, you see these people trying to now go out to the appropriate quarter to seek redress. In the case of PDP, for example, we've seen that it is clear that the party were not ready, or rather exercising their constitutional power as regards their party constitution enough to nip it at the bud when they saw that a parallel congress was organized. Parallel delegate congress was organized. The party paid deaf ears to it. Instead of calling them to harmonize the list at that point, they waited for them to fight dirty. And they went further into primaries, allowing them to also organize a parallel primaries. The party at that point did not call both gladiators to a round table to say, okay, let us share it. Let us share the positions so that we go united into the primaries. They also didn't do that. And they now waited for them to now begin to fight themselves dirty in the public, to the extent that they are now dependent on the court to determine the fate of whoever is going to fly their flag. Recall too that when this thing was ongoing before the party primaries, the PDP in their own wisdom discovered that if they allow any of the factions to take part in the presidential primaries, it will go a long way to vitiate the overall outcome of the presidential candidate. So they asked Edo chapter of PDP not to participate. If they had participated now that party, the court is now using them as a willing tool to let us say today you are going to be the candidate, tomorrow you say another court, even court of same competent jurisdiction, coordinate decision, are now giving conflicting judgment just to disorganize the party the more. But however, the Supreme Court judgment that came lately did not in any way push blame to any of the party, rather than refer them to the party, which is the National Working Committee, to resolve their, because the question we should be asking now, who ab initio send the list of delegates of candidates belonging to party A to INEC, and who also send the list of candidates belonging to party faction B to INEC.
We'll
that
come to
INEC
that.
is now faced with confusion now
All
to
right.
now determine which one is authentic and which one is invalidated.
We'll
that
come
is
to
where
that.
the problem lies.
We'll come to that, Honorable. Well, you've heard him. He gave us a lengthy, background of this. Probably get to have this firm grasp of what is really going on. But going to court, does it invalidate the constitution of these political parties?
All right. Let me quickly add to what Barrister has said with respect to the incessant crisis that is rocking the incessant court cases that is rocking the party. You see, Mr. Wilson, this is what you see when you don't have an effective leadership, both at the Congress level, both at the party level as well. Like I always say, that there is need to redefine a new mode of accountable and transparent leadership. When you see some persons are dissatisfied, okay, that, oh, this person have what it takes to be in this particular position and not the other person else. If they are satisfied that, yes, you have chosen the right person, they all feel is supposed to be in that or contest for that particular position, there won't be any crisis. There won't be any issue of parallel delegate election. You get what I'm saying now?
Yes.
So when all these things are not in place, when you don't have effective leadership, you are bound to say this. Now, the recent judgment by the Supreme Court, just like you said, that yes, the Supreme Court now has ruled that the issue in question is the party internal affair, that the National Working Committee has the power to decide on issues on that. So, but for me, I would say that let everybody, like in PDP, we should begin to build advocacy for unity, for love. We should try as much as possible to see how we can build bridges of unity across the troubled waters of division. Build bridges of love across the troubled waters of hatred that is existing, okay, in the party now. So until we do that, there's no headway. So that is what the leaders of the party should be doing at this point in time. Let everyone come together. Let's be united, because a house that is divided against itself cannot stand. So we need unity. Let's put our differences aside and let's come together in love. And
But some are saying it's too late what you're preaching right now.
Of course.
Because it's like both parties are at loggerhead. For them to push it to that extent, Supreme Court, you advise you to do
there's nothing God cannot do. All right, no matter the, yes, I quite understand, yes, that it has gone beyond redemption, but something can still be done. Love covers a multitude of sins, isn't it? Yeah. There's nothing God cannot do. All right, if everybody is committed to coming together, embracing unity, embracing love, you'll be surprised with what can be done.
Okay. But Honorable, now he talked about unifying the party, let love reign. But in politics, can love really reign in politics?
This is a belated epistle. Because one, when, like I said,
yes,
at the beginning, when they were holding parallel delegate congresses, the party paid deaf ears to it. And when they went to primaries, they also paid deaf ears. Though I recall there was a time prior to the primaries, I saw on media that the party, the major factional heads were called for a meeting in Abuja or thereabout when they were told to share the positions. That would have been the best therapy to this legal crisis. But they came back home and they reneged in that agreement. I'm not a party member of the PDP, but then what we are seeing on conventional media, we were told that, yes, they were sharing this position so that they can go united into the primaries, where they will go as a party. What has been taken away from PDP now is love and unity. We are not seeing the love and unity amongst them. Majority of those who are social media influencers, who are the faces of the XY PDP, as it were, are now singing different songs. Like the rally one of the political parties held yesterday, we saw them coming out, exposing themselves where they truly belong to. Even at a time, we've seen the governor making some statements which is not too fair to the party and the stand he proclaimed, he claimed to belong to. However, what that suggests is that a house that is divided against itself cannot stand. And they are going to a general election where they ought to have come together as a body, as one family, to pursue one goal. They are no longer going to achieve such a unity going forward, because one, the last time INEC shortlisted the names of candidates that will stand for the election, he published the names of candidates belonging to one faction, and he ended with a caveat that it is on
pending court judgment.
Yes. Order. Yeah. And now the Supreme Court did not give a definite judgment now in favor of any party to the case, because the case that was taken to Supreme Court was to ask for the authentication of their delegates that gave birth to the primaries and invalidate the delegate of the other. But in their wisdom, the Supreme Court now asked them to go back to their party to resolve their differences. And at this juncture now, you can now deduce the fact that it is late for them to go substituting such name. It is late for them to now begin to harmonize, believing that there is also a court judgment that says that yes, it is the National Working Committee that ought to send the names to the INEC. It is the INEC that ought to come and monitor. One of the factions enjoy the monitoring of the primaries by INEC, while the other enjoy the support of the National Working Committee, who eventually now send the name. But the question we are now asking, one of the faction, I don't want to begin to mention name now, send the name through the state chapter of the party to the national, because the state chapter of the party does not have the right to send the name to INEC. If they have done that, INEC wouldn't have even accepted the name of candidate from them. No, the question we are now asking now, who eventually now send the name to INEC? Is it not the same National Working Committee that sent the list of both factions to the INEC? So that is where the problem lies.
All right.
I think my advice at this point is that,
before we start advising, he wants to react to some of your comments.
Let me see. Yes, you have said that yes, it is not possible for reconciliation to take place now. Okay, but I would say that reconciliation can still take place. Now that the Supreme Court has given a verdict, it's okay. The National Working Committee has the power, has the responsibility to meddle into the lingering issues on ground. Now, if the two factions then come together to take a unified position to say, okay, we know we have been fighting, we have done this, let us sheath our sword. Let's put our differences aside. Let us do this. Let's trade. One faction can trade off one benefit for the other. And so, okay, in as much as this is a position, let us agree. But do you think that cannot happen? That can happen. Do you get, that can still happen.
Yes, hold on,
it can still happen.
You still react, just hold on.
Yeah. It's about give and take. It's about give and take. Life is about give and take. If one of the two factions come together genuinely to say, oh, we have been on this matter for too long, so let us put our differences aside. Okay, now names have been published. We are aware of that. Okay. And the two factions say, let this one give way. Let this one give way. Trade off one benefit to getting one another. And they actually unite to do that. Okay, let me say, for example, if the faction, or let me say Chief Danobi, and the state PDP chairman and the governor, if they come together to say, okay, right now, it's no veto, no vanquish. Now, we have fought, but let us reconcile. Genuine reconciliation can bring about unity. I'm talking of genuine reconciliation. If it goes, okay, let's take this, let's take this, let's work together for the common good of the party. Because at this point in time, if before election, the party is not united, just you know what will be the resultant effect, the outcome. So something can still be done. I'm an optimist. I'm not a pessimist.
Okay.
I'm saying genuine reconciliation, in quote, genuine reconciliation can still bring everybody together. And that genuine reconciliation will be predicated on one fashion, genuinely giving up one benefit, trading off one benefit for the other. That's the way I see it.
Right.
I'm very optimistic
about it.
Yeah.
Over to you now, Honorable.
Thank you very much. The way it is now, that genuine reconciliation is very far from reality. Reason being that there is this leadership tussle between the Nobi-led faction and the state governor-led faction. An indication that, you know, when two elephants fight, it is often said that the grass will suffer it. Who are the grasses now? It's going to be those who have thrown themselves up for this election, those eventual candidates belonging to both factions. Recall that before now, one time they will come out rejoicing that yes, the court has given them victory, while the others will be in sober. Tomorrow, another court judgment will come, throwing the other side who were hitherto in sober mood, becoming very jubilant. An indication that yes, the die is cast and the line is drawn. There is this animosity that has existed over this while this case lasted. And this animosity will go a long way to affect the chance of unity towards the election. How? Some people were asked to step down prior to the primaries, while others were asked to go. Those who genuinely stepped down and the person who eventually make it has gone to pacify him, and they are together in that cause. Why this line that has been drawn between the governor's faction and the Nobi faction is so fierce? It's so fierce that it is fight to finish. There is no way. The time, just like you rightly mentioned, that of Akpabio, Lawan, the rest of them. Even where they were the real person that eventually now become the choice of the party was going into that election. There were a lot of groundwork trying to pacify the person who hitherto was a brief holder or something, a placeholder. Because these people ought not to benefit what actually they are going to benefit now. But there were a lot of party work that went to assuage the minds of those who were there before. PDP did not do that. The line was actually drawn that, look, if we have it, we'll go straight. If we don't have it, we will spoil them. Recall too that the reason why the governor is fighting tooth and nail to have the 24 members, a candidate for himself from his faction, is because of the fight that he is looking in the future. What? Because they've tested waters, they've said so many things that ought not to be said in the public, they've done so many things that ought not to be done, and they've now seen themselves as an enemy from within. An enemy from within is more dangerous than enemy from outside. Because these people are now ready that if at the end of the day your candidate gets through, we are going to work to sabotage them in the actual election. The same way the governor faction is also threatening the Nobi faction. Look at the family. You know, every political animal belongs to a family.
Yes.
These people have drawn a line now that, look, it's not going to be well with whoever that emerged. But it would have been better if they had done this before now, so that they cannot harmonize when the window was still available for them to substitute.
Okay.
That would have been the time they would have arranged all these things.
Hold on.
That would
Let him
have
anchor.
even give kind of alliance to what he is trying to say. I know he's in a dagger point. He's a PDP member. He's also an aspirant. Whatever he says here will be used against him. That is why he's very careful.
No. You're not to speak on his behalf.
Optimistic.
You're not to speak on his behalf.
Exactly.
All right.
Now, he's trying to be optimistic.
Wait, hold on.
But I know
Honorable Jasmine,
his position.
Honorable Jasmine, let him react.
I am an objective person.
Yeah.
For those that know me, the records are there to verify. You see, let me say something. I speak from the position of facts. I leverage statistics.
Okay.
Now, 2 Saturdays ago, we went for a senatorial meeting in Edo Central. All right? And in that meeting, what was resolved was that one of the resolutions was that, irrespective of how the judgment go, that everybody should work together as one indivisible party. And that resolution really sunk into the minds of everyone that we're there. You get what I'm saying now? So you make mention of some issues concerning the fact that maybe the governor have 124 members to himself. I think, I don't know where you got that facts from anyway. I'm not holding brief for the state government, but I will tell you what I have witnessed. Like 2 Saturdays ago, Edo Central, we had our central meeting, and both faction, both from the Danobase group and the governor's group, and what was said was that whichever the judgment go, let everybody sheath their sword. And that was what was said. You were not there. You get what I'm saying? And everybody took that resolution to heart. So I'm still very optimistic. It's not because...
Hold on. Let him anchor.
You know, I made mention of genuine reconciliation. Genuine reconciliation. Some of the contestants that were asked to drop, or those whose name did not appear, what can be done? You can defray their expenses. If you defray their expenses, I tell you, they will definitely forget about the past. What is the in thing? Why are they into? Why are they contested? It's not because of the money, because of financial benefits, isn't it?
And of course, to serve the people.
And to serve the people. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, in the sense that they have incurred a lot of expenses. So, genuine reconciliation that will help in a way defray the expenses of the faction that are not supported by the Supreme Court ruling, we go a long way to bring it about unity. And at the end of the day, everybody will be happy. So I'm still standing on the fact that something can still be done. In quote, genuine reconciliation. Genuine reconciliation. In quote.
But he's saying that you've gone past that level, because in Benin terms, you get to hear this terminology. That's what I was saying. That past that level is going to be fight to finish. Because
do you know what will happen in the
but let me you see,
you don't know. Okay.
The reason why I'm saying this, ordinarily, you know, having put into a political party like this, what you pray for is to have a cohesion, to have unity, so that you don't go there divided. But having said that, we know the antecedents of these persons that are involved, both fashion. We know how they grandstand. We know how they do their things. If you ask me to describe them, I will tell you that one among these two is an area scatter. Wherever it goes, it scatter. The other has been there, tenacious to make sure that even if it is two persons, they hold on to it. We know them. And when we were saying this, that this man, wherever he goes, he scatter. People say, no, you people are the bad person. Look at it, he's scattering. To be candid, nobody pray that what he has labored for over this year, one person will just come because his position, which is transient, will just come and scuttle the entire arrangement. That is what is making some of these people very, very, very annoyed. And if we go like this, yes, the only person that would have initiate this genuine reconciliation, because he owns the yam and the knife in terms of finance. He just alluded to the fact that yes, the reason why some people go to this position is because of financial benefit. Who owns this finance now?
And of course to serve the people.
You added that to it. And at the end of the day, it is the governor that owns the yam and the knife to have done that. Only when this outcome favor his fashion, he cannot roll out funds to say the other guys, you have this, so that we can work together.
All right.
But being the person he is, can he now bring out funds to also support people that is within him, to support the other guy now in the re-election when he has made some statement that is not palatable to the unity and chances of the party?
All right, you just hold on. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We are about commencing our today's edition of Miss Mononai TV. We're taking a look at the impact of court judgment in the fast approaching general elections come 2023. I have Emmanuel Kundoga here with me in the studio, and of course, Honorable Desmond Dugbo. They are talking about this court judgment and the implication it will be having in the forthcoming election. Dwelling more primarily on what transpired in Edo State, the Supreme Court judgment that was given, and from what Honorable Desmond is saying, there is no clear cut to this judgment. The judgment didn't support any faction of the PDP, while Kondoga is still maintaining that there's a possibility of peace, that peace can really, really bring about genuine reconciliation. The big question now is, if there is an apparent reconciliation, will it be genuine? Is it going to be a house divided against itself, or is it going to be, let's shift our sword so that we can really make this party come stops in various positions they are vying for? All right, Okondoga, I want to start off from you.
Yeah, I wanted to react to my brother's statement.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, the crisis you see rocking the party today is what I call the wall of ideology, all right? The wall of ideology is the most difficult wall to fight. My opinion, your opinion. My opinion is different from yours. Mine is different from his, okay? So we always try as much as possible to see how we can find a meeting point, a point of convergence of reasoning. Now, when he said that certain person moved from one party to the other,
he never mentioned them.
No, he never mentioned them. So that's why I'm bringing about issue of ideology. My ideology will always differ from your ideology. So there is bound to be differences. Now, if you carry out what we call the SWOT matrix analysis, everybody has his own strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. The same thing with you, the same thing with him. So what is most important is for us to find a common ground. Give and take. Compromise in one way and trade off one benefit for the other for the sake of peace. All right? So I still maintain, yes, even though you look as if there is no hope, some person may look at it that, oh, genuine reconciliation is not possible. But I'm still saying, I see the possibility of a new Nigeria of peace and unity, starting from even Edo State. I'm very optimistic about that. Like I said, genuine reconciliation. There's nothing that God cannot do. All right?
We're bringing divinity into this matter right now.
Yeah. You see,
politics and divinity, do they mix?
Yes, they mix. Let me tell you something. That's why the book of Proverbs 29 verse 2 says, he said, when the righteous rule, okay, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people mourn. So what you see today in our society with respect to bad leadership, bad governance, is reflective of the spiritual, let me say, moral and spiritual values. Because you cannot give out what you don't have. That's what we call the Nebudat no Abad Eris. So if you have love, you will definitely give out love. If you don't have the love, you can't give out love. If you have what it takes to lead, you will definitely exude that and create the enabling environment for effective leadership and governance. So there's no way you can extricate or exonerate spirituality from politics. Man is a spiritual being. True or false? You believe that? You are a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual being. It depends on the side of the divide you belong to. Maybe whether you are a pagan or you are a monk or which.
Okay, let's use the term positive and negative. I think that really, like, you know,
exactly.
encompasses, yes.
I still maintain that something can still be done. Right. Genuine reconciliation is possible by the grace of God.
Over now to you, Honorable Desmond. And I know you have so much to say. So you have the floor. He said genuine reconciliation is possible.
Thank God he made mention of...
But before you react to what he said, the Supreme Court judgment, is it a panacea of settling this dispute, or is it going to make this worse?
I think it has made things worse now, looking at it. The Supreme Court said, ab initio, they don't have jurisdiction over such matter. Take it back to where you are coming from. An indication that even those cases at the lower level that ordinarily ought not to be, because that is the final judgment over all the litigation that started from Federal High Court to appeal and all that. So this litigation of a thing ought not to have arisen if the party was alive to their responsibility. Now, the truth of this is that he has alluded to the fact that yes, you can't give what you don't have. And when I was making mention of people who have been known, who have antecedent of scattering area, what they know best to do is what they are doing now. You can't take that away from them. So wherever they go, even when they go to White House, they will scatter the place. If they go to Blue House, they will scatter the place. That is what they are known for. But today, thank God that, you know, every election like this, people are about to sing praises of a particular person, describe him with all sorts of adjectives. But what is truly embedded in such person will come to bear, giving him the time to exercise his authority, his government. Now, Edo State is groaning. He made mention of when the wicked rules, people will groan. When the righteous rule, people will rejoice. In the context of Edo State, now, can we say that the righteous is ruling or the wicked is ruling? The question remains with you. Now, the truth is that when Edo State PDP started this hula balloon, some political parties were happy that it will degenerate to a certain extent like this, so that when we go to the election, we will know those who owns the land. The truth remains that until you take away that pieces of wood in the fire that keeps bringing smoke, until you remove the piece of wood, the fire will know no rest, and it will certainly amount to nothing. That is the basic scenario that is happening in Edo State PDP today. But this is not about PDP. It is also an advice to other political parties. Yes, this quest by political leaders, rather the party officials, to install a person of their own in political position should be stopped. It happens in APC, it happens in AMPP, it happens in CPC, it happens in all political parties. But the outcome is not always good. The reason why we must advise all party members, all party leaders that, look, what you don't wish others do to you, don't do it to others. Because if you take me away from my popularity when people wanted me to represent them, because you own the yam and the knife as far as the party is concerned, you disadvantage me, you derecognize me, you take me away from there, and you put your own person, I will not be obligatory. I will not have the courage to work to deliver your person. And that is where I said that it will be very difficult for the two factions to close ranks and work for the betterment or the interest of the overall interest of the party, because they have fought themselves dirty, they have so abused themselves, they've used all sorts of derogatory statements, and even their followers are not helping matters. The most problem with this crisis are their followers. those social media zealous and social media hunches,
Right.
they are the people widening the gap between the two factions. Ordinarily, they are leaders of the party.
Right.
They are the owners of the party. They have a point of convergence where they can settle their
Okay, thank you.
But
Thank
because
you.
of their followers who are widening the gap, it keeps widening.
All right.
That is where the problem lies.
All right, we just
You're
want
going to
ask
have the
a
last one because
question.
I'm getting strong signs to call it a wrap on the show. Over to
Yeah.
you, Mr. Mount.
All right, we ask my brother a question. You are in a family, I'm in a family, you are in a family. I want to ask, have you ever quarreled with your brother or your sister, and maybe it look as if you are not going to settle again, and you vow, you say, no, over my dead body, I'm not going to settle with this, my brother.
Can
At
I
least-
quickly respond?
No,
Yeah. Wait.
hold on. He has
So,
the floor.
Okay.
Bloodline is different
Wait.
from
Hold on.
politics of interest.
Yes, we
No
know,
permanent friend, no
we know.
permanent
So,
enemy. Interest is permanent.
if you look at it that way, that yes, within the family, he's talking about bloodline, yes, you can still settle. Now, come to politics. Yes, you said politics of interest. Yes, politics is about interest, about power, about who gets what and all.
Yeah.
According to Harold D. Laswell, we know that. What I'm saying in essence is that, yes, PDP is a great family. Yet there is division in one fashion. There is division because there is two fashion. One fashion A, fashion B. And because of a certain political ideology. And again, I think we fail to mention the fact that what happens in a situation whereby some persons, okay, who are contesting, but they don't really have what it takes to contest. They don't have what it takes to lead. But because they have deep pockets and they give to leaders, okay? And leaders will not tell you, this is the person we want. And you will see some other person from the other camp saying, why not do the right thing? Maybe the person has vision, the person is committed, the person is dependable, he wants the right thing to be done, he wants effective governance, transparency, efficiency, and his own ideology will conflict with the other person's ideology, who has built a career in money, in money politics.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So these are the issues on ground, which both parties will look at and genuinely say, yes, now that the Supreme Court has given judgment, and yes, we may say the judgment is neither here or there, but let's even forget about the judgment. Supreme Court is saying, now you are family, go home
And settle.
you have your go home and settle among yourself, and at the end of the day,
All right.
you come up with
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Desmond. I know you have so much to say, but our time is up.
Okay.
Our time is up. No need to say more. Our time is up. Well, you've heard them. Right now, from what many are saying, they're saying it's for a particular faction of the PDP. They're saying no, it's neither here nor there. But one thing is certain in that judgment is an internal affair. You just go home and resolve it. But the big question now is, can this be resolved? Is a gap so wide that is irreconcilable, or genuine reconciliation and peace can really smoother all this? Or is it going to be a case of oh, they've gone past the bridge, I don't really know, but anything is definitely possible if a house is united. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Thank you.
I appreciate a wonderful analysis.
Thank you.
We'll do it again next week Sunday, God willing. Bye for now.